So it's Valentine's Day 2008, and you talk about question to clarity. So what the heck does that mean?
Questioning the clarity is really the basis of my entire system of marketing and sales and closing, and the way I use it for my personal life. What questioning and clarity is, questioning to clarity, it came from a statement that my father said to me. And my father wasn't a businessman. He's retired now. He should live and be well. What my father said to me, we're going under a tunnel right now, so it's a little bit dark. He said this: the best way to know anything is to ask. And what I was finding was, in a lot of cases in life, we make guesses about things. And I'll use the example that we were talking about earlier with my BlackBerry. I'm a big believer in carrying a BlackBerry. Why? Because a BlackBerry makes it where I never have to guess about anything anymore, educationally. If you want to know anything, we can go to the internet. Well, with the BlackBerry, it allows me to go to the internet no matter where I am, no matter who's asking the question, no matter what the situation, I can get that information. So what questioning the clarity does in a business standpoint is it allows you to not be guessing about anything that the client's thinking about. It allows you to ask, and sometimes it takes a little bit of nerve. You were talking about the zone again. You know, marketing takes the nerve to say honest statements that are a little bit difficult. And when you have to do a question that's going to be difficult, it's best to start it off like this. Mr. Prospect, can I ask you a frank question? Something along those lines, where a person knows a difficult question's coming. But in most cases, if at the beginning of the relationship we mirror the prospect correctly, and we talk about mirroring in the system, mirroring is for the first 3 to 4 minutes, whatever posture the prospect is in is the posture that you'll be in. If they're laying back in the chair, you lay back in your chair. If they're sitting forward, you sit forward. If their arms are crossed, you cross your arms. You mirror them. So you build a subconscious rapport with them. The next step from the warm-up, that's called the warm-up, that's step number 6. Step number 7, while things are very passive and you have this rapport building with the prospect, you simply say this: you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, or Mr. Prospect, or Mrs. Prospect, I find that one of the best ways for me to help you, and using the word help is an extremely strong word in this situation, the best way for me to help you and to be as efficient with your time as I can be is for me to ask you a series of questions that I've found are important for helping to make this decision. And I'm sure you want me to value your time as much as you do. This will give us a streamlined way for you to make an educated yes or no decision today. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you a series of questions that will allow me to customize my presentation to exactly what you want and need. And then I proceed into the questionnaire. Now, one trick about the questionnaire, and this is a very, very important point. Depending on how many questions you're going to need answered, I have 14 questions in my questionnaire. So in my situation, the middle question, number 7, is always slipped in like this. So what would you like X to do for you? They haven't made any decision to buy. They haven't made any decisions at all. So it's very passive now. They're very open to asking questions. There's no price on it. It's just an open question. So if you decided to go ahead with X, what would you want it to really do for you? And what they're doing for you at that point is they just told you how to close them.
Right.
That's where the close comes from, is the questioning the clarity. Because if you're questioning the clarity, at this point, they're feeling no pressure whatsoever. So they're willing to answer. If you were to ask that question after telling them the price, for example, you would never get the honest answer. They would have to put something in there so that they weren't committing themselves. But before you give them the price or the investment, when you ask that question, they'll say, well, I'd like X. If I really had my pie in the sky, I'd like X to do this for me. Well, if after answering that question, you know your product or service does that for the prospect, they're done. Now it's just a matter of getting them to move to action. So that's the important thing. So the middle question, now you might need 30 questions answered. So question number 15 is where you would slide that in. What do you want X to do for you? The rest of the questions are really designed very specifically for your product and service. What will it take, and what are the needs of the prospect, and what are his wants, and what are the circumstances by which the financing would have to set up, and is a guy willing to save to get the better product, and all these different things that you need to know about your service or product to know that that's a qualified prospect. This is the time to ask, because it's the most relaxed and comfortable time to ask every question you need.